Hello everybody, welcome to Oscar Bucks. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would seriously be much appreciated. Also drop a like on the video, that's even more important. It helps the video perform much better in the YouTube algorithm. So the Dallas Mavericks and the Milwaukee Bucks played yesterday, and I finally got to catch that game this morning. And wow, it was truly a great game. The last game that I reviewed on this channel was the Bucks versus Lakers game where Anthony Davis had a 44 piece on Giannis, and I called that the game of the year. This game is not the game of the year, but it's definitely probably in the top 10, somewhere in that ballpark, because this was truly a special game. The sheer amount of highlight plays, the amount of dunks, there was a Luka poster on Jrue Holiday. Giannis had some crazy dunks. Josh Green got a dunk that was a reverse that was so fast it barely even felt like a poster because he just dunked it so fast that the defender wasn't even there on time. And then there's another one that's escaping me. There's a Christian Wood alley-oop. Spencer Dinwiddie dunked like crazy on Brook Lopez. So just from a highlight play perspective, there was that. But there was also the fact that this was a comeback win for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, not necessarily a massive one by any means. It was only like a 10-point deficit that they overcame. At one point, it was like 15 points, but at about the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter, it was about a 10-point game, and Giannis just decided to turn it on and win the game. Granted, after he had like 8 points in a row, he didn't really do much else to affect the result of the game. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he fouled out. Otherwise, there's no reason why he wouldn't have been on the floor late in the game, but let me check just to confirm. I'm like 95% sure that's what happened. Yeah, he did foul out. But Giannis, this whole game, up until really the fourth quarter, had been struggling quite a bit. He missed the most field goals in one half that he has in this entire season with 9 missed shots, which for Giannis, being the efficiency of the shots that he does get, it is surprising for him to miss that many shots. And he had 5 points. I think he was 2 for like 12 for the entire first half. So obviously not very good by Giannis' standards. And as a result of this, the Dallas Mavericks went up pretty significantly. A big part of that being that Luka Doncic had like 16 points in the first quarter, and he was hitting 3 after 3, ended it with like a really nice spin fadeaway in the mid-range. He overall had a really fantastic performance, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Mavericks later, but I just want to wrap this up about the Bucks first. So because Giannis was struggling early on, the team was struggling early on. That's kind of how it goes. Jrue Holiday was cool in this one. Chris Middleton was cool in this one. But Bobby Portis was great in this one, I would say. But if Giannis is going to shoot 20% from the field, they're not really going to have a shot. Luckily, in the fourth quarter, it just seemed as though he decided, you know what, I am Giannis. And he just ran to the basket over and over. Got a crazy and one on Norman Powell, another and one on the fast break. He got a dunk. Just very good stuff from Giannis. Hit his free throws as well. So he overpowered and turned the game back into the tide of the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's what I'm just going to say for their side for the most part. The Dallas Mavericks really confuse me. I've been wanting to make a video on them for a minute, but my opinion keeps flip-flopping because they keep flip-flopping. Like, they were really good this entire game. Like I mentioned, Luka going off, but also Spencer Dinwiddie was really good. Christian Wood in his limited minutes was good, and that's a whole ordeal that I'll maybe talk about. Josh Green was cool. I don't think he was as great as he's in other games, but he had that dunk I mentioned, and dunks are nice. Was active on the defensive end of the floor. I just don't think that the Mavericks had necessarily a bad performance, and they also did a phenomenal job defending Giannis. But they kind of fell apart, and it's something that the Mavericks are becoming known for, as being this pretty poor execution fourth quarter team. And that poor execution manifested in the late game as Dorian Finney-Smith messing up an inbound that probably should have gone Milwaukee's way, but it resulted in him going to the free throw line. Then he missed his free throws, which meant it was a 1-point game and the Bucks had the ball with 9 seconds left. And then off of the inbound play, they gave a backdoor alley-oop to the slowest man on the floor, Brook Lopez, who put it up touched it off glass, went in. 1 point game. Mavericks did not get off a good shot after that. It was just actually like they threw the game. I would almost title this video that. Like, I thought about it. Maybe I will if this video's title doesn't do well at first. But, like, it really seemed like they blew this game. And it almost seemed intentional how obviously they did blow it. And there's a couple of things to blame. Their late game execution was terrible, like I mentioned. But also, God, I don't know. I think Jason Kidd's coaching is a big problem. Like, he's shown capability of being a good coach. Like, when Christian Wood was in the game, when he was doing well, he left him in the game for quite a while, which I appreciated. But he also pulled him out of the game late as Dallas's offense struggled. And you make the defensive argument, like that's why Dwight Powell was in the game or whatever. But Dwight Powell is the same dude who gave up that backdoor pass to Brook Lopez, if I'm not mistaken. I know for sure it wasn't Christian Wood because Christian Wood wasn't on the floor. So I do think that that's the big thing. Like, you have a guy who's capable of putting up 25 a night. I genuinely believe Christian Wood can put up 25 a night in that system. A guy that capable, and you're limiting him to like 22 minutes a game or 25 minutes a game, and he's coming off of the bench. And it's just like, it's almost like you're trying to lose. Because I don't care how defensive-minded you are, you cannot argue to me that Dwight Powell is a better player than Christian Wood. You just can't. Like, overall, Christian Wood is far more of a plus than Dwight Powell is. In certain moments, on certain plays, yeah. Like on that play at the end of the game, even though, yes, Dwight Powell, I presume, is the one who messed up the matchup, unless I'm forgetting and they went small and Maxi Kleber was defending him. Either way, two players who are quote-unquote better defensive players. I mean, they definitely are. If that's the last play of the game, defensively, go for that. But, like, not playing Christian Wood for the past couple of minutes of this game, not playing him in the first, like, 10 minutes of the first quarter, it's detrimental to your team's offense. When Christian Wood was out there, the offense looked good. They were generating good looks all the time. He was able to create his own offense. Even when Luka was not on the floor, he had Drew Holiday on the post on him, and he got a bucket out of that. He hit a very nice mid-range shot very late in the shot clock over his defender. I think he took someone off of the dribble once. He was hitting his open threes off of the pick and pop. He's a really, really good play finisher, and you have one of the best playmakers. End of sentence. So what are you doing by not playing him? Josh Green is somebody who has stood out a lot and played a lot better basketball than he did last year. Because if you remember last year when Josh Green was getting minutes, and I believe it was the Sun series, it was like, what is he doing out there? But now he's actually genuinely been a positive contributor and playing good defense, hitting his three-pointers, cutting back door at the right time. And he's not getting the kind of minutes that you would expect. So I don't know. I primarily look at the coaching thing, and I'll give my whole rant here. I really hate when a head coach is very specifically one side of the ball minded, right? Like a coach who's like, I'm going to focus entirely on defense, and then the offense can figure itself out. Like, I have personal experience with that with Tom Thibodeau being the first head coach that I had to deal with as an NBA fan. So Jason Kidd very much gives me Tom Thibodeau vibes. It's very annoying. I very obvious. Jesus Christ, I just had a heart attack. I will acknowledge that Jason Kidd does very much help them on the defensive end of the floor. He's the whole reason that they were a good defense last year. Well exceeds the defensive personnel on the roster. His defensive scheme does. I don't know why I just said that like I was Yoda. But at a certain point, okay, cool, you've done that. But address the other problems you have. And you can't just keep coasting off of this one thing. If anything, fire him or make him an assistant, and he can be the defensive coordinator of the team or whatever. Because once the defensive system is implemented, it's pretty much implemented. Now the players just have to use it. Now what's the point of you even being there if you're not going to make adjustments and if you're not going to make the right rotation decisions? Because playing Christian Wood 25 minutes a game is just unacceptable. He's too good for that. That's the end of the conversation for me. I don't care that his defense is bad. His offense makes him more than a plus, especially by comparison to freaking Dwight Powell. But at the same time, I can see these adjustments happening, and then suddenly the team's way better. So I don't know what to make of the Mavericks. I could see them making a conference finals run. I could see them being in the play-in tournament. I don't know what to think of them, and yeah, I guess that's the point. Bye.